let me just get this stream started. And how do I actually share? There we go. I'm a streaming noob. Okay, what we're going to do today is build a video game. You ready? It'll be a really simple video game. I'm going to work on the programming while you do the art. So let's quickly sketch out our game idea. So we're going to have let's make this a lot bigger. We're going to have some kind of stage, okay? And then we want a little tank over here, and we want a little tank over here, and we want some obstacle in between them, so that they can't just shoot straight. And then we probably want 2 sliders or something like that.
What are sliders?
A slider is like something you can grab this little knob and slide it left and right. One of them is going to be how powerful you shoot, and the other one will be the angle you shoot.
Okay.
So this, and then you'll take turns. And this is going to be our game. Okay? So, art that we need. We need a little tank or some kind of shooting thing. It can be anything that you want to draw. You need to draw the body separate from the barrel. Okay? Because we got to make the barrel rotate but the body stay the same. And then we need some kind of mountain. And then we need a bullet. Some kind of little trail for the bullet. And then we need some way of determining how you angle your gun. Whatever you think would be easy to click on like that to shoot, you can draw. You need to draw all this at about the same scale, so about the same size. Like you can't draw the tank big and the mountain all small. Okay? Yeah. So you get started on the art. That's the art that we need. So we need barrel, tank body, some scenery, the stage to put them in, a bullet, and then some kind of things like buttons to click. Okay? You can draw that all together or separately. You're going to have to draw some things like the barrel separate. While you're doing that, I'll get started with the code.
Okay.
And if anybody is watching, let me know if the volume is loud enough.
The typing's really loud.
Yeah, mechanical keyboard. Okay, so we're going to do a new project. I'm using the Flat Red Ball game engine. Do an empty project, desktop GL, and we're going to call this Nico Tanks 2000. I don't know. You're going to have to make a logo too for the game. We'll put this in our documents, projects. Looks good. Make my project. All right, dude, start drawing. We don't have much time. We gotta hurry. So you gotta draw your tanks. If you want to use a pencil or a marker or whatever you want, and then I'll take pictures of it with my phone. We'll cut it into the graphics. And I'm gonna start laying this out. So we need a tank entity as a sprite, and we'll just use circle collision. We're gonna need a bullet entity that has a sprite and a collision. And
so like how would I draw it? Like do I just like draw in one big picture? Or?
you could start sketching it like that and think about how you all want it to all be laid out, but when you actually go to do the tank, it's going to be a lot easier to get it in the game if you draw like, you know, this is my tank and this one has a star on it. And then the barrel is going to have like a hinge at the back, and then it's going to be like long and skinny like this, and it's going to have a stripe right here, and then I want my tank to have like a little base or whatever. So that's going to be easier for us to work with. but you can draw it all at once to get started. Okay, so our tank, and then we also need a tank barrel, and that's also going to have a sprite, no collision. Our sprite instance, let's make this thing 64 pixels wide and 16 pixels tall. And this, let's have it be 64 by 64. It needs a collision radius to be 32. Put a tank barrel on our tank. Our bullet, let's make this 32 by 32. We're just putting in rough values here to get us started. 16 radius is fine. Let's create a screen. Call this battle screen. And that's going to have call this player 1. And player 2.
It says smearing.
What's that? That's okay. We can clean it up. Just be...
This pencil's
Either way,
pretty
it might take you a couple tries anyway to get it. Yeah, it is kind of smeary for some reason. I don't know what's up with that.
Here, I know maybe.
But anyway, I can clean that up. I can fix that in Photoshop. Fix it in post, as my creative director used to say. Okay, player 1, we'll want them to be close to the bottom of the screen. Doesn't really matter yet. Pop this open in Visual Studio. Let's set this X to, if this is an 800 by 600 camera, actually let's make this 1024 by 768. Let's allow resizing. I don't know what that'll do, but and then let's, well, just see what we got so far. Is that the bullet?
I'm trying.
I wish I could show on the webcam. Okay, here's our tanks. Okay, we need a background color that's different. So let's do a classic cornflower blue background. Oops. And we'll do and then we'll make so for 1024, half of that is 512, so the screen is 512 high, and we just want a few pixels off the bottom, so let's set the Y to be negative 490.
I don't really get anything you're saying.
That's okay for right now. Oh, actually, we're 768 high. What's half of 768? 384. So actually, we need to be like negative 360. I'm positioning the players. And then for now, we'll make the starting place be negative 490 here. And this will be positive 490. And we want the tank barrel sprite. If it is 64 wide, we want it to be at 32 on the x-axis so it has the right rotation point. And that's fine. So you ready to see our amazing game? There's our two tanks. See? There's little barrels sticking out. It's a little too low, so I need to move them up a little bit and in a little bit, and they're probably too big, but we can leave them that big. So let's move player one.
So that's what the tank's gonna look like. Could be like a star, like a heart.
Draw a little bit softer. That way, part of the reason you're getting smearing when you erase is because you're drawing like with maximum pressure, like your pencil lead is just about to break. So if you draw a little bit softer, you can always go over it darker. Okay, let's do negative 4, double negative 50, oops, 450, and let's do like 330.
Not the best start.
Okay. Oh, are those the different symbols you could have on your tank?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then
So that's the bullet with all the stuff, but I need you to draw the bullets separately too. And maybe draw them a little bit bigger. Might be better to draw everything just a little bit bigger. Okay. Let's go into our battle screen here, and let's just create a...
not so good at drawing things.
And let's give the tanks a health amount. See what I'm saying? You broke your lead. You're pushing too hard. Okay, so we're creating some methods to deal damage to the tanks and to destroy them, and we also want to keep track of tank play state and let's do a tank play state. What the heck? There we go. Let's make this a property. Wow. Push that button or the whole desk goes up. There we go. Okay, so now we have the ability to give damage to the tank, and we have checking for death.
Is that big enough?
Yeah, but now see, your scales are kind of different. Your bullet is tiny, but your gun is huge. So pick like one size, like make, I'm going to draw really light lines, okay? Draw just a tank and make it fit tight in this box. Then draw its barrel and make it fit tight in that box. Draw a bullet and make it fit tight in that box. And then draw some bullet effects that will come out of the back of it while it's flying and make just one of them. So like if you want the bullet to be like, have little clouds like this, draw one little cloud in that box, and we'll make a bunch of them and rotate them and scale them in different sizes. And then draw like a barrier between them, like some old building or something, and make it fit in roughly that box, okay? And draw light so you can erase and redo it. And actually this tank box can be it can go a little outside the lines if you want. But try to roughly fill those boxes, and then everything's going to be kind of the same scale. Okay, now we want player turn, current player turn. Oh, you know the other thing we need? A mouse cursor. Make it about this big. And when I say a mouse cursor, I mean something that's like,
Yeah, I know.
or something, you know, some kind of aiming thing. Okay? Draw softer. Look how much darker your line is than mine. Really practice drawing real soft. You can always kind of like draw out your barrel parts like this, and then, you know, you can always come in and make like dark afterwards. And then the cool thing is you can do stuff like make that more interesting and give it like little interesting bits, like, oh look, it has a little area that's like smaller. Okay, so start soft and then fill in detail. Okay, so current player turn equals player 1, and then let's do player turn logic, and var target equals current player turn.
I think I need a new tank box. Like,
Just draw another one. You can see how big it is, so just like you can draw above or below it, but that's your size guidelines, okay? Don't worry too much about making everything perfect, because when you get it in the game, you might not like how it looks anyway, and you might end up redrawing it. So just try to get all of the art done quick, and then we'll take pictures of it, cut it to the right size, get it into the game, and then if you're like, this doesn't look good, you're pushing really hard, I can see it, I can see your hand trembling. Don't get frustrated, I'm just reminding you. Soft.
I'm trying to like go as soft as I can.
That's the hard thing to learn. The other thing is, It's really hard to push a pencil accurately. It's easier to drag it. So if you're drawing something that has multiple shapes, do it like this. Here's the top, here's the bottom. It's much easier to draw a straight line that way if you're right-handed. Then here's the end. It's easier to draw down than push up. It's always harder to push your lead than to pull it. So don't draw like always clockwise. Draw top, bottom, left, right, or whatever. See what I mean? That's easier. Okay. Trying to think about how I want to do this here. Let's I think that's make that public. Okay, so basically what we're doing here is getting the angle to the cursor. How you doing? You look like you're getting frustrated. Don't get frustrated. We're making a game. We're making a video game. Okay? Just keep trying until you get it. I'm doing the same thing. I'm working out how this is all going to work. So just do this in case. I should have refactored that, but that's okay, so let's try this if input, so let's do clear logic. Let's test that. So we're testing our code to advance player turns. Oh, whoops. Can you give me just a little bit more elbow room here? Can you move that way a little bit? I can move this stuff. There we go. Sheesh, I forgot basic programming syntax apparently. breakpoints in here. That's wrong. Yeah, dude, you're gonna end up breaking the my desk here. Maybe there's not room for you on this side because of my laptop, but just try to be careful, okay? Because when you hit that button, when it starts going down, it's gonna smash that speaker. Ooh, is that the game cursor? Nice. Okay. Okay, did I just advance it twice? Play it too. Oh, I know what I need to do. There we go. Cool. I'm doing subtraction the wrong way, but see the barrel is rotating, and then if we press space, it goes to the next player's turn, and now their barrel rotates. So it'll bounce back and forth between the two players' turns. I need to swap my math here.
What was this one again?
We got tank body, we got the barrel, we got the bullet. This is the bullet effects. That was just me demonstrating how to draw boxes without pushing the pencil. That wasn't anything. Okay. Now the barrel should aim the right direction. Look at this. We don't have a cursor yet, but I'll do that. And then we press spacebar. I'm going to take out these breakpoints. So we have the ability to bounce back and forth between tank turns. Okay, cool. Now we need to do the ability to fire. Going to choose random numbers here. Is that the middle part? Now is that a crack?
Yeah.
It's a big rock between them? Nice. Okay. We don't need the sliders at the bottom. I'm going to do this a different way, just with mouse click, so we don't need those sliders. Max fire hold duration. This is going to be a number in seconds. I should have called this max fire hold seconds. And this is going to be 1001, 1002, 1003. 3 sounds like a good number to start. Current hold seconds. If Like, why do I have that? Okay, so this really annoys me. There you go. So divided by why am I not getting my... Oh, I put this on the tank. Yeah, we're just going to put those on the screen. Like that, 500. Max. Set that to 3. There we go. Another thing we need to do is what am I doing here?
Okay, finished.
Other entities. Nice. Cool, we'll get that into the game here pretty shortly. Okay. Create a public tank. Player. And this is going to be okay. I'm working on the math here, so just a second.
You can
So now we got creating our bullets, and then we need to reset the current hold seconds, and we need to, oops. We need a status or a between turn concept, but that's okay. We can deal with that in a second. Okay, current holds equals in, and we'll just advance turn. And then the bullet needs a gravity property, and let's call that, I don't know, 20. We're just kind of guessing at numbers here to see how the game feels. So the way it's going to work is you will hold down the mouse button, and wherever you hold down the mouse button, then it will start building up power, and when you release it, it'll shoot the bullet, and then it'll be the other person's turn. Make sense? So tank, did we give this a health? Max
And
health.
like on a
We didn't give
controller,
this a value.
you can hold 8.
Let's give this bullet oops. Yeah, but I'm just building this to play with the mouse for right now. Damage, let's do 25, so it takes 4 hits to kill the other person. And then in the bullet, we need to do acceleration y is negative gravity. Let's see here, actually. Battle screen, did I? So you hold it down, do firing. So I'm not doing any collision yet. The bullet is not colliding with tanks, but it should, shooting should work. And actually,
Should put that.
oh, look at that. It works. It's really slow, and gravity is not. Now it's the other player's turn. So, it's working. Okay, now it's this player's turn.
Ground.
We need ground. We need a lot of things. Our
That thing
velocity
is-
range is way too high. I feel like we need to give this entity some drag. And yeah. Whoa, easy guy. Maybe just unplug that. That stuff's gonna get wrecked. Okay, so let's give this some drag, and let's give it a drag of 3, and sorry, I'm just thinking about how we do this math and stuff. Okay. Let's just see how this looks with drag. I think we're going to want a lot higher velocities. Oh, I forgot. I got to hold the button down. Okay, now this is the other that drag is way too high. Did you see what it did?
Yeah, like.
Okay, so well, actually, the drag wouldn't necessarily be too high if our velocity was higher. Let's just turn these numbers way up and see what happens. Okay, gravity is 20. We might want to make this more like, let's try, just going to start moving numbers around until it kind of goes, you know, like it should, You just kind of got to mess with the numbers till it feels right. So I'm holding this down. Whoop, that's a little too hard. So we need way higher gravity. That's going to help.
Yeah.
Way higher gravity. So let's just go with, it was 30. Let's just go way high, 500. That's going to be like totally change everything. And we got to be careful. We can't have the bullet move too fast or the collision starts not working. That's feeling actually a little better. Oh, that's...
that was close.
Oops. Badunk. So I think we could turn drag down a little bit. That's going to make that better, actually. Drag, let's just turn drag to 0.5. We might end up not needing drag at all, actually. I'm going to just set that to 0 and see what happens. And I'm going to turn gravity up even more. Let's go to 750. Ooh, now we're starting to look like a bullet, right?
Yeah.
Too hard. Oops. So we gotta have a little delay between turns.
Oh, that was so close.
So we kind of have a system here. I think I want to turn velocity, the max velocity, down a little bit.
Is it time for art?
Yep, 1250. Let's just, it's easier to get some kind of testing in place before we have everything else in place, but
That would be really useful because you could see where.
okay, you can hit each other. That might be a little too low. So actually, let's go 1500, and that's probably going to feel pretty good.
Is it going to be pixely?
No, it's going to look about like that.
Yay.
Yeah, that feels pretty good.
Can
Yeah,
I
because you
try
can really...
shooting?
Sure. You're that tank right now. So you got to hold it down longer. So see, it's going to be hard. It's going to be easier to hit people with an arc. Like if you always hold down, whoa, so that's, I think that's too much. Let's go back to 1200.
It's going to be pretty hard to hit people.
Okay, cool. Let's get some art in this game. All right,
Yes.
so I need to get my camera. We need better light. Let's see here. It's going to be a little better. I guess I can kind of adjust it in Photoshop. So. Let's see if we got a nice clear picture.
Yay.
That's pretty good. Okay, so now we need to get this in Photoshop. Uploading and this and select this photo. Yep, we got our photo here. Download. Okay, so here's our art. Let's get this to be a nice bright white. Oops, that's not what we want. And you know what? I think we need a background in our picture. Sorry, I'm grabbing some images here. I'll just pull this on. So, looking for actually Unsplash. Couldn't remember if it was .com or what. Not seeing anything that is exactly what I'm looking for. Just try paper. Hey, that's more what I'm looking for, but I want it to have some lines on it. Like that. I want classic blue line, but we can fake it, so let's do this. Let's grab this picture. And let's rotate this. And we need to have a nice bright blue for notebook paper. So this is going to be our background. And let's do what the heck? Not what I wanted to do. That is too big. There we go. Let's change that to multiply. Now it looks like we have kind of a line here. Why is Photoshop ignoring my inputs? What the heck is going on? It's like half of my keyboard presses are being ignored. I wonder if it's OBS.
Wow.
What's that?
That's gonna get a lot quickly.
Yeah. Okay, now we got some notebook paper.
And then make a red line.
Yep. And we got to turn the opacity down a little bit on this. There we go. We need our pink notebook line. Yeah, that looks pretty much like a piece of notebook paper, doesn't it? We'll save this and make it our game background.
Cool.
What did we call this game? Nico Tanks 2000?
Nico Tanks.
Okay. Okay. Texture scale 1. That might be way too big. We might have to turn down the texture scale a little bit. Let's check that out. Hey, look at that. That's going to be pretty cool. We don't need to turn the texture scale down much. That might be fine. You can't see the pink line, but that's kind of okay because you can actually... I guess that also scales. So we could turn the texture scale down just a little bit. Oops. 0.8. We'll try that. And then we want to also give this a Z of -3, just to make sure it's in the background. And let's start getting some of your sprites. So here's our tank body. Let's get that in here.
That looks so sloppy.
Oops, let's,
Looks so weird.
yeah, we can fix that up a little bit though. So I think each of these are 16. Look at that, cleaned it right up. Okay, and then we want to get rid of that background.
Is that actually what it's gonna be look like in the video game?
Mm-hmm.
What?
What do you mean?
Like, is it gonna be that sloppy?
Well, I told you, you're drawing the art. You drew the art. It's going to be exactly what you drew. There's no magic way to make it better. That's why I said when you see it in game, remember I said that? When you see it in game, you're probably going to want to draw it. This one kind of cracks me up.
Yeah. That one's...
I like it. It's funny. That's about a good size for that.
I think it should be a little bit smaller.
So when it is in the game, it'll be like this. Well, both these are white, see? We've got this white space here. So let's tolerance 32, contiguous, and anti-alias. What we want to do here, this is kind of tricky to remove this white without it
Can't you
causing
like
problems.
sketch it like
Let's just do 20. Actually, let's just do this, see what it's going to look like on the actual notebook paper. What the heck, Photoshop. Oops. It's like ignoring about half of my key commands. It's super annoying. What the heck? Edit. Copy. Like, are you kidding me? Copy and paste aren't working? Thank you. Okay, so that's not going to work. Just a second. What is going on? Why, like, half of my key commands are just not working? Okay. Let's just bring all this in at once. So we got our bullet, we got our little cloud, we got our cursor, and we got okay, that is enormous, so that is not going to work. Actually, it's going to be better to edit this art like this. Let's get all this stuff in here. That's going to be a little better. Get that color out of there. This is the problem with using like a camera though. You just don't get good, clean.
Can't you make my things look better?
You can only make them, no, I mean, it just, they look fine, buddy, but you can't magically make art look differently. It just doesn't. Get rid of these lines. I mean, I'll clean it up a little bit. It'll look cool in game, buddy. Get rid of that line and get rid of this line. And then we want to select, I'm going to try selecting just the darks. And on a new layer, fill those with what is going on? Yeah, that's not working either. This might actually look okay. See, those lines you're a little too light on, but that's okay, because we're gonna you'll see, it'll look kind of like it was like a piece of notebook paper is being played. Let's do this. Edit. Preferences, guides and grid. Let's do 64. Photoshop changed their copy or their scaling commands, and I like have struggled with it ever since. I've never gotten used to the stupid new way that it works.
So it'll look like. So will it like look like? Didn't you say it'll look like a book being?
It'll look like a hand-drawn, yeah.
Don't forget there are different things.
Don't forget what?
That there are different like types of symbols. It's like a star.
Where are those?
Heart.
Well, we only have 2 players, so we can only use 2 of those, but let's just get this in the game first. Because that symbol changing is going to be kind of tricky. I mean, for the level of effort I'm wanting to put into this. I think we maybe can do this. Let's try this on a new layer. And let's do oh, that did not, what the heck? The view did not update, like, I just thought of a reason why this is going to be, one of the things here is not going to quite work right. We can't have we can't have a transparent barrel, or we can't have a transparent tank, but okay, let's add oh, we didn't even, I forgot to do the bullet. Well, whatever, we'll get the tank in.
Got to do the bullet.
I have it set, I like forgot what I'm doing here. Oh, texture coordinates doesn't work in. I don't really want to deal with animations, that's annoying. Okay, so we want the tank to be, it's basically, you know what?
That just looks, the face just looks like a circle with 2 dots and like a squiggly line. It's because it's all pixely.
Okay, let's just try this real quick and see if this is working. Hey, there's your first tank. See it?
Yeah. But the stuff is still black. And that takes.
But it's starting to like look like a real game, right?
Yeah.
I noticed this background is, let's change this to 0.85. Hey Nico, where'd you go, bud? Getting all your art into the game. Something is not quite right. Oh, I'm setting the size. And also this. That actually is 64 by 64, but what you got? Oh, did you grab yourself one of these granola bars? Mm-hmm. So that's not quite right, but it is working, sort of.
Yeah.
What's 160 divided by 2? 180?
What?
Oh, I mean, not 180, 80? Why doesn't that seem right? I'm just getting the numbers to work to line up the art. I did something stupid. Needs to be
Can you
negative
like
80.
make the face in middle of the circle? That one thing.
Let's, before we start nitpicking on art, let's get the game working, okay? That's like a super common trap that people fall into is they're like, oh, I want to move this. What the heck am I freaking doing? Why is this not? Okay. Oh, 160 minus 64. What is that? 160 minus 64 is 96. And that divided by, oh my gosh. Cool, 96 divided by 2 is 0. Really? Okay. 96 divided by 2. 48. This should be negative 48. And this is 64 pixels tall, so that should be negative 32. I don't even know what I'm doing. Apparently I can't do basic math today. 7th try. Now, why is this so screwed up? We have too much offset. Let's try turning that down a little bit. Because we just want to make this look. Let's do like 38. Like the barrel's rotating in roughly the right place. There we go.
That's pretty good.
Now I feel like the barrel's a little bit too big. We can fix some of that. The art level.
That's what I thought too.
That was before I fixed it. Okay, that's close enough for now. Okay.
Now we need to do the bullet.
Now another thing you need to draw for me is some like ground for the tanks to sit on. Okay? Something like that. Do that on that sheet. now we need this huge thing.
That thing actually looks pretty good.
It helps to draw bigger. Oh yeah, I forgot that method didn't work.
Maybe I could make that one line a little darker.
It's okay. We're like, I want to wrap this up pretty quickly, so we're gonna get like really basic stuff working, and then see, I made the line darker for you.
Thing's gonna look pretty cool, probably.
This granola bar is like caught in my throat.
This granola bar is good. And that one I was eating was kind of funny.
Okay, we need to take a picture of your ground here.
Without taking a picture of those things.
It doesn't matter, I can just crop it out. Give that a second to get uploaded. Okay. So now we have... What the heck just happened? Ah. My fingers are not working today. Shortcuts, apparently. Okay, we're going to create a new object, and this is going to be called barrier, and it will have sprite and an axis aligned rectangle. Okay. Sprite distance.
So much guitars.
Okay, so this... Huh. We're going to make this just a little bit smaller, this barrel.
Okay.
Photoshop. Holy crap. Glitchy freaking mess. Does not work well with OBS running. 61. No, that's the wrong thing. It's like, that doesn't sound right. 448. Sure. That's the width. 448 is the height. Probably gonna want that smaller, but we'll see. I don't know what this number should be. Our barrier is about in. Look at that.
What happens if you hit the barrier? Will it bounce off?
Your bullet will just explode. So we need to move that. Right now nothing happens, but okay, we need our bullet. Man, it's taking way more time to get the art in here than I thought it would.
Even paper looks bad.
Well, it's because we're zoomed way in, so that's part of it, and the other part is I took it with a crappy camera. Okay, so now we're adding the last little piece of art here. 64. Texture pixel. What's 64 plus 32?
64.
96. Top texture pixel. 32 and 16, I think. 48. Let's see how it looks. Oh, and then we want to do.
I think the bullet should be smaller because
In games, bullets are always bigger than the barrel. Why the heck is there a... Oh, the other thing is the bullet needs to rotate to always face its target. So let's do that. Rotation Z equals math A10 2, velocity Y, velocity X, and that's got to be a float. And then we've got our something wrong here. 32 bottom texture was 64. Is this 32 by 32? And then we need to fix our tank barrel sprite, which is now 32 and 64, I think. There's a tiny fly in my coffee. Well, that was clearly not right. And the bullet is not rotating, even though the velocity should be changing. Why is this not happening?
Probably because I did such a bad job.
No, you did a fine job. And,
Looks really
what the
bad.
heck? This, like, sprite mapping by hand freaking sucks. It's really irritating me right now. Okay, that's 64 by 32. What have I got wrong here? Left texture pixel. Okay, the right texture pixel cannot be the exact same as the left one, or that's not going to work. This should be, yes, 128. Okay, so that should fix that problem. And then this bullet, we need to blur it just a little bit. There we go, and then now it looks like the other art. Okay, stop pulling on my chair, please. That's really frustrating. Now the last question is, why is the bullet not rotating? As its y velocity and x velocity. What the heck? Oh my gosh, dude. This freaking barrel thing is really pissing me off. Is there a reason I cannot set a breakpoint? There we go. The reason is I'm clicking the wrong thing. Oh, this problem has really got to be fixed. This is a non-stop issue with flat red ball. Actually, this one is pure my fault, actually. We don't have anywhere to put these bullets, so they are not being updated. That will make that problem work. So now bullets should probably rotate in the direction that they're falling. That's being hit as expected. What the heck? Look at that. Okay, so now we got to fix that stupid freaking barrel alignment. It's really pissing me off. And so it is now 64 pixels wide, so this should be 32, and it is 32 pixels high. That shouldn't need any movement. Okay, that works. We need to move it back just a little bit, but we're getting close. Now the next thing to do is we add collision. So let's move this back just a little bit. Let's go 4 pixels. And then we need to do collision. We need to get your ground in there too.
Yeah. And get my giant wall, like, so the things blow up.
straighten this a little bit. Pretty straight. Copy this, get it into our spray sheet here. It can basically be about that wide. Darken up. Okay, please stop kicking and grabbing my chair. That's really irritating, buddy. It's like every time I try to move the mouse, something is like shifting my whole body. Tone down that color a little bit. Okay. More of this stupid manual texture mapping is a giant freaking time sink. 512. So we need another entity. We're going to add an entity called ground. It's going to have a sprite and an axis aligned rectangle. It'd be cool if double clicking on that worked. Left texture pixel is 0. Right texture pixel. So that was 512, and the right texture pixel is 831. Negative 330. Okay. Okay, we should be getting close on the level layout. I think I'm going to need to move that barrier down a little bit more. Hey, I like that tank better.
What tank?
You must have a texture set before setting this. Oh, wine.
That tank better? That's your tank?
Oh, my bad. I thought you just drew that. I was like, your lines are way straighter. That would explain it because I draw pretty straight lines.
It needs a little bit more back.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so that needs a little bit more back. The ground needs to be
Longer.
lower, or I can move the tanks up more. I think I should move the tanks up more, and they need to go up about 16 pixels. So let's go ahead and do that. Player 1.
16?
What's 30 minus 16 is 317. I don't know. 317. Try that. And then the tank barrel needed to go back a little bit more. So let's do like 25. And then this thing needs to go down probably about 80 pixels.
Why can't you just like hold it and go like...
Right? That would be really nice, wouldn't it, if we just had a visual layout? But you can do that, but I did not take the time to set all that stuff up because I was trying to make this just quick and dirty. Build a game in like an hour. I think we've been at this longer than that, but okay, that looks better. The tanks are roughly on the ground. We'll just leave that. That's fine. This, why did that not move down? Did I not move it down? Barrier instance, -8. Maybe I didn't move it down. -120. Is that thing even moving at all?
I don't know.
I swear it's not moving.
Turn it down 1,000 and see if it's moving.
That's like pretty literally what I just did. What was the other thing I was going to do at the same time before the next build? I don't remember. Still a fly in my cup. I haven't drank it yet.
Okay.
Okay, it is working. I just didn't have it big enough. So let's do barrier instance down like, let's do 220. You know what? I know what happened. Before I wasn't exiting the box with the cursor, so it was not applying the changes. And so I changed it like 3 times and nothing happened. And that's why. Exit the box.
It would be really nice if I could just...
There we go.
Ah.
We're going to leave it right there because that's close enough. Okay, now we need this rectangle for the ground needs to be, let's just make it 1500 wide. Let's make it 100 tall, and let's position it negative, not in the X, -30. So basically this rectangle is what is going to actually collide in the game. Everything that's a rectangle or a circle on the screen is what's actually going to collide, and so we need to have that be another 64 pixels lower, and that can be a lot thinner. So let's do negative, let's do -90, and on the barrier we can reduce that by 335. Height, I don't know, 425. We're making a real game. Did you think that you could make a game this morning that like you could draw actual stuff and it would appear and be a game? Look, those are your tanks that you made. Firing bullets that you drew.
You need to make the dust around them.
Oh, another thing I forgot is the cursor.
Oh yeah.
So this would be a lot cooler if it wasn't a rectangle, if we actually drew a polygon, but I am not going to do that by hand with no visual tools. So we need a game cursor, so...
It might change a lot, but you don't do it. But I was thinking in the beginning, you could like tap. I don't know how to say this. Like.
64, 64.
Say the tank's right here. Like, right there.
Just a second, buddy. I'm getting your game cursor in here. Okay. This should be your target. Hey, look at that. Oh, snap. You got a target cursor in here now. Okay. Now we need to do the final big piece, which is...
What about the dust?
Well, we're going to cut some features because I don't want to work on this all day. So we're not going to have any like cool particles and stuff. Let's see. I swear Visual Studio and IntelliSense is getting worse, like by the month. Okay, so what the heck? You can't bounce a circle off a... What the heck? Maybe I was missing. I don't know what was going on there. So collide against ground instance dot or e dot x is less than camera dot main dot world y at 0. No, absolute bottom y edge at 0. Okay, we got our collision in here. So this basically is going to be the full game. Okay, ready? What just happened? Target. It's player 1 and it's player 2, otherwise it's player 1. Collide against the target, apply damage, and destroy the bullet. Why did bullets stop working? Make sure I didn't break something else. I don't remember what I did. No, that works fine. So it's something with collision. And count bullets greater than 1. The target, if the player turn is player 1, then the target is player 2. That makes sense. Do I have my player logic backwards? Yes, I do. So the bullet was colliding immediately with the player and being destroyed. Okay. Bink. Bink. Now it's the other person's turn. Their bullet's still not working though. So now it's their turn. Yeah, their bullet's being destroyed immediately. What am I doing? It's like super frustrating. Oh, this was right. The current player, if it's turn 1, it's player 1. Okay, so do firing.
We did all that in about like an hour, maybe?
We've been at this for, I don't know, it doesn't really tell me my stream duration. So I don't know. This is frustrating me because for some reason, do you see what's happening? For some reason, with one of the players, it's destroying the bullet immediately. And I'm trying to figure out why. The target, I feel like it's right here somewhere. If the current player turn is player 1, then the target should be player 2. Otherwise, it should be player 1. It's just... So what we're going to do is we're going to pause the game when a bullet is colliding with a player and figure out why it's colliding with a player. Okay, so right now, the target is player 1. But it's player 2's turn. I know why it's happening. Because we're advancing the turn immediately to the next player's turn, but the target, so that the target is applying to the last turn. So what we need to do is yes, they do. Okay, so what we need to do is that's not going to work. I think what we need to do is, that's a stupid idea. This actually. Getting close, buddy. Just working through the kinks. This is like the slow part of game development.
Coded a lot today.
Not really. We're kind of moving slow. Okay, I think I just fixed our little bug there. We no longer need this variable, and
Justice.
Justice. What was that? All right, here we go. Okay, cool. That is not what was supposed to happen. Why is it still freaking doing that? Oh my gosh, that is so irritating. This bullet is disappearing immediately. Why is that bullet disappearing immediately? It's only doing it for one player. So this player's bullet works fine. Now it's this player's turn, and it immediately despawns the bullet, but it's not freaking colliding, or we would be hitting this. Why is this happening?
Is it noon or?
What's that?
Is it noon?
Oh yeah,
Is
you
that
worrying about the
noon
siren? It can't be hitting either of these, but we'll test it, but it can't be hitting the ground. And I don't have pooling, so it can't be a pooling problem. Okay, that is expected. It should hit the ground there. And then this one, why does it freaking think the bullet is hitting the ground? Oh my gosh. It's really getting to me today. I do not have the patience for this. Make this red. It's a little easier to see. This does need to move up a little bit. Okay, so here's what's weird, dude. The moment this bullet is fired, it thinks it's hitting the ground. Oh, I'm checking the X. That is why. Oh my gosh. See, today I do not have patience for programming. Type one letter wrong and then you stare at it for 30 minutes to figure out why it's wrong. Okay, there we go. That is expected behavior. Then this player gets to go. Whoa, dink. And this player gets to go. Dink.
That player isn't going that fast.
My buddy is watching this stream and he is helping me, except that there's apparently a huge amount of stream latency because his help comes about 5 minutes after I've solved the problem. Okay, so this is actually kind of a hard game. I think maybe we need to make that barrier a little smaller.
Yeah.
So let's just scale it down a little bit. So let's do the sprite instance. Let's go size, let's do 0.75, because really the purpose of it is just to keep you from shooting directly at the other person. And then this, we can make this like 285 and the height like 325. The last thing we need to do to make this a full game is a, oh, and we also got to move it down, but either way that axis, that's a better size. So we need to move it down probably 60 pixels, and we need to reduce the rectangle by like, let's do this like 230, width 225, and then this whole object needs to move down like -185. Now our rectangle's a little too small. Oh my gosh, and I forget to click off of that so it actually applies. So we need to make our rectangle taller by a little bit. For what it's worth, in a game, in a real game, I would never be nitpicking with these numbers like this, like testing one and building it. That's like the worst way to build a game. It would take forever. You build a tool first that improves that. Okay, that's not too bad. And we need to make this rectangle a little better so you can't, because right now you could technically shoot under it. Maybe. So we need to make that rectangle just barely skinnier. But if I was making a real game, I would take the time to make the tooling better than this. Like, we would not be spending time doing these little stupid number entry. That's like over the course of a game, working on it for months, entering a number and then rebuilding it and entering a number is like completely unsustainable. Okay. So now this tank doesn't get to shoot now until that bullet's gone. So they're way too small, and then way too small. Still too small.
Still too small.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, that did some damage. So, okay, a couple things we need to do. We need to have some indicator of damage.
Like -25.
And we need to check end game state. So end game state is easy. So basically what we're going to do is okay, don't do that, buddy. Remember, you are on video. And so if you're like humming, it's really hard to hear anything else. Okay, so what we're doing is we're checking if each tank is dead. And if a tank is dead, then the other tank is the winner. So if tank equals player 1, And actually the easiest way to do this is going to be probably just adding a gum file.
Gum file? What's a gum file?
Gum is a UI library. We don't need forms or anything like that.
A U what library?
User interface. So it is used for actually, you know what? I'm not going to use all of gum for this. That's going to be ridiculous. Well, we're just gonna do this. The battle screen. We're getting really sloppy with our code here, but whatever. Stay with me for like a little bit longer, dude. We're almost done, okay? I feel like your attention span's really fading right now. But you could look at what I'm doing and see if you can figure out or follow any of it. Because if you're turning away and making sounds, I know that you're not learning anything new. I realize I'm not really explaining it all because I'm trying to get through this. But here's what we're doing. We're checking game over. Here, rotate like this. Let's stop kicking my chair, okay? Just stay like that, please. So, we're checking. If the game is not over, we want to do all our normal stuff. If it is over, we want to wait for a player to click, or for the mouse to click again, and then we'll start a new game. So if mouse release. So basically when the game ends, we're going to show who won. And let me turn up the bullet damage so that a bullet kills in one shot. So the games will be quicker.
Yeah, because it's super hard to hit the other player.
You want to try it?
I guess. Player X wins.
Yeah, it's just saying that for now. Like, don't worry about it. So I'll be this player. Oh, I just about won on the first turn. Oh. Oh, you won. That did not work though. Oh, because I actually destroy the tank. So,
Yay.
uh,
I meant for it to like go up and like bounce on it.
let's not do anything if you die. And let's do. Okay. So, one other thing here. Let's do.
True.
Yeah. So winner text that visible equals false. We'll make that invisible, and then winner text visible equals true. Okay. And the other thing we need to do is hide all of our ugly collision. So we'll make all that invisible. That doesn't have collision. The ground has collision. Make that invisible. Tank collision. Make that invisible. Now you should go get your brother, and I'm going to do another quick test to see if the game over text is working, but you should go get your bro and let's do this. Custom initialize, turn the winner text. Let's make that text center. And let's do 5. So my buddy says I should shrink this collision box. So let's turn it back on so we can see it, because he doesn't like the bullet bouncing off of empty space. Okay, so that is much better art there. It's still going to bounce off of empty space in some cases. We could still go a little. Hey, buddy Caldrex joined. So if you have just joined, we have been making a game, and like our target was like 1 hour-ish. I think we've been at it maybe significantly longer than that, but we have actually made a legit game that is a really bad version of gorillas.bass. Anybody, where was that? Okay, that's a little better. Okay, 1, we're recording. 2, we made a game in an hour, but you better be nice, because this is an hour effort that we made a game.
And
so,
it's not
okay.
like pro.
You want to play it?
Sure.
So here's how it works. You just use the mouse. Okay. Oh, I need to turn off. Let me turn that off real quick.
It's hilarious. Interesting graphics. Yeah.
Like I said, this is a very quick effort. Okay, so your goal is to shoot over the mountain and hit the other tank. The longer you hold the mouse button down, the harder you shoot, or the further you shoot. So, pink. Okay, and that's the other person's turn. So that's the game.
That's kind of funny. That's you.
So go ahead, you can try it.
Oh, and you have to hold it.
Nico's turn.
man. Oh man, you have to hold
Yeah.
it like.
It like bounces off that thing.
I haven't actually tested that the wind condition works yet, so I hope it does. Ooh, Nico's getting a little closer.
Hey, you made this game.
Well, he did all the art, but like,
Oh.
Yeah,
I
you
think
can-
the max time you can hold it is 3 seconds, and that, like, the power ramps up a lot.
Okay, we're gonna do 2.5 seconds. What? Oh.
Okay, that was the maximum power. Bullets going
I
to
did
space.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
That didn't seem like you held it that long, but it came out pretty fast.
Oh, come on. Like, sometimes it goes farther and other times it doesn't.
I think, let me give you guys a tip. I think when you're aiming like that 45-degree angle like that, it makes it a lot harder. You'll have more luck if you aim a little higher. See that?
Whoa,
Oh,
what?
snap.
You just
What?
won for me.
But that should have won. Just a second. Let me,
Why did he do that? Dad did that, not you.
oh, sorry, just a second. Tanks. I just want to check.
Did you make
That
tank
should
blow
have-
up graphics?
No, it just like
Current play state playing.
and Dad just wanted to make it quick.
Just a second here. I want to.
Did you see the background? Of
Oh,
the
sorry. I just found a bug, so the game will never end. Just a second.
Oh.
So is it a quick fix bug? Or a
Yep, super quick fix. Already fixed. Round 2.
Round 2.
We could make this screen bigger.
Yeah.
Oh, good thing it doesn't test collision against its own self, or you would have just blown yourself up.
my bullet just went.
Remember, much easier to hit if you aim up more.
Why?
Dude, you have to hold it.
Count in your head.
Sucker.
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 Oh, getting a little closer. You killed yourself again.
There's a little smiley face.
Yeah, I know. We spent like pretty much the absolute minimum amount of time trying to make the art awesome. While you guys are doing that, I'm gonna go get Mom so she can see.
Yeah, there's a little smiley.
Yeah.
Jeez, that thing's going to space. Oh. Oh. Hey, dude.
Okay.
One of you guys won yet?
I can't get that. What?
That was
That
a funny
was
like, let me
hilarious.
try one going.
Aw, dude.
Hey, it's my turn.
Yes.
Well, you guys just switch places. It doesn't really matter. Nobody's
No,
like.
no, just let me go again, so we. Or not. Just go again. Okay.
I'll try one.
Bunk.
That's almost a strategy to bounce it across the top of the mountain if you had the velocity
Yeah,
right.
that's the only time I killed you.
Remember, Cohen, I said it's much harder to shoot at that angle. You notice you guys' angle is way different than mine. Because here's the thing. If I'm shooting like this, it's gonna land somewhere between here and here. Just think about the trajectory of the bullet. But if I aim like this, I have to get the velocity perfect, or the arc of difference in where it lands is longer. Does that make sense? Here, look, I'll draw it for you.
It makes sense.
If
That's
you
the ground,
draw
by the way.
if you draw an arc like this and a high arc and you have a lot of different velocities, okay, this is your spread. But if you have a low arc and you have a lot of different velocities, this is your spread. A bigger spread means a lower chance to hit a specific point on that line. So the more of a steep angle you aim, the easier it will be to hit the other player.
I went inside the mountain. More like a...
Oh, that looked like a hit.
No, that
It
was
must not have.
like right in front. It was like right in front. Oh, come on. It probably hit like right there.
I don't think you guys are getting any closer. It's just completely random.
Oh, that was so close.
That seems weird. I feel like it's.
I thought I hit Cohen.
Let me just put it. I just want to put a break point to make sure that we're not.
I thought I hit him.
Okay,
Holy
try it again. I just want to see if any of those things are hitting. That one was definitely short, but it was close. Higher, higher. There you go. See, you get a lot closer like that. Because if you hit the barrier, then you're like not even close. You know, you'll never be able to hit them. Here, let me try a couple.
You're just gonna win. Again. See?
Oh.
Oh, come
Here,
on.
let me show you something. Okay. Whoever this player is,
Me.
aim at the same place every time. Okay? Then try to count different amounts in your head. 1001, 1002. Okay? Next time do 1001, 1002, 1. Like wait a little longer. You see what I'm saying?
Oh.
Okay, so that works. So let's step through here. So current health is less than 0, which is true.
It bounced in air. It was like
Die,
less.
and then we're going to step into that. That's going to set the tank state to dead. You're going to break something, dude. Player 2 wins. Cool. Now the way it should work is you click and it restarts the game. Cool.
Yay.
All right, I'm playing against Mommy. This is our game.
Oh man. Okay.
You aim your tank.
Dude, that thing is just random.
You aim your tank. You are being recorded, by the way.
My face?
Everything. Yeah, I mean, like, see.
Oh, I don't like that.
Okay, you aim your tank, and you press and hold the mouse button up to 3 seconds. The longer you hold it, the harder you shoot.
It's like
Gorillas. Remember? Did you ever play Gorilla? The Gorilla game? MS-DOS.
what is this? Does this?
That's like
your...
That just shows where you're aiming. The distance doesn't make any
Okay.
difference.
That's what I meant. Whoa, way too hard.
Oh, but Daisy.
Oh, I got real lucky. First try. Alright, I'll be this side now.
wait.
That was actually kind of close.
And then me against Mom.
It's hard to know.
Wait, what about me?
I feel like I didn't
Then
get any
Colin
chance to
gets
feel this out yet.
Okay, Mom.
Okay. Oh,
You have to hold loud.
how come the first one was way too long?
The tail end, that last like little bit of time, the velocity stacks up really quick. Uh-oh. Man.
Player 2 always wins. Okay, me against Mom.
That's cool. I like
What
it,
about
dude.
me?
Just
Cool. I'm gonna stop the stream,
You did the
but we
artwork,
can keep
huh?
playing.
Did you draw different things for the middle?
no.
No, we just had one drawing. It took way longer than I expected to try to get the art decently into Photoshop.
Huh.
So that's why it's a little bit like it could definitely be improved, but
Yeah,
I don't know how long it took us to build it.